How you doing, everybody? I'm Ken Bykoff, and welcome to the Peegs Postgame Live. Indiana, 77-64 losers here at Simon Scott Assembly Hall to a Michigan State team that just simply shot too well, made too many good, just answered everything Indiana tried to do when they tried to rally late, and Indiana loses. One that, again, all the losses are painful, obviously. But this is really one that hurts because of the fact that Indiana is running out of opportunities to pick up victories, plain and simple. And it was an old story. Indiana is out-rebounded. It's outshot. Michigan State hit shots, but they also had some really, really open looks that made it so that it wasn't all that difficult for Michigan State to deal with. So it is a tough loss. And you're starting to stack up these defeats. And you're running out of time. That's the biggest issue. 812-393-2600 is the number. Thrilled to be back with you after the technical problems that hurt us so bad last time out. Fix that problem. So I'm happy that it seems that you guys could hear me because nobody's screaming they can't hear me. So that's a good thing. This game, when you look at that first half in particular, Michigan State shot 58.3%. At one point, they were shooting 75% from the field. They were just hitting everything. But again, it was that Indiana's defense wasn't nearly at a high enough level. Some of the shots were contested shots, but most of them weren't. And that is where you really run into a problem. And then again, Indiana just simply had no answer. Too many guys that are still continuing not to produce in the starting lineup. Some baffling things going on along the way. Nick Dorn has been struggling for game after game after game. He stays in the starting lineup. Tayton Connerway had a nice game last week against Northwestern. He sees 7 minutes, doesn't play in the second half. It's an odd situation there, obviously. They've decided to ride with this group, and Enright and Connerway combined to go 2 of 12 from the field overall, including 2 of 9 from three-point range. Tucker DeVries plays 40 minutes. He's minus 13 on the night. Lamar Wilkerson, 39 minutes, minus 13 on the night. And you just aren't getting enough beyond those two, and not enough movement, not enough anything that goes along with it. 812-393-2600 is your number. The Hoosiers lose once again, and that now puts them at, why am I drawing a blank here on the number of losses they have this year? They are up to 12 losses. They're 17-12 overall. Another game against Minnesota coming up here on Wednesday, senior night. Ohio State next weekend on the road. Ohio State that just beat Purdue. So winning at Ohio State is going to be difficult. History doesn't inform this season, but a reminder that Indiana has never won the Big Ten tournament, which means a loss, another loss, should they lose to Ohio State on the road. Should they lose in the Big Ten tournament, now you've got 14 losses on the year before the tournament comes around. They're running out of opportunities, folks, plain and simple. And right now, just from an eyeball test, this isn't an NCAA tournament team. They've had moments along the way, but I believe this now makes them 2-11 this season against quad one opponents. And if you're going to get into the tournament, you have to beat teams that are going to be in the tournament to earn that. And the Hoosiers haven't done it at nearly the rate that they've needed to. Let's talk about some of the individual stats that we have going here. Lines are open, by the way. Lamar Wilkerson leads the Hoosiers with 29 points and 11 of 21 shooting, 5 of 14 from three-point range. grabbed just 1 rebound, had 1 assist and 2 turnovers in 39 minutes. But Wilkerson wasn't the problem in this one. Tucker DeVries, 20 points on 6 of 16 shooting, just 3 of 12 from three-point range, which isn't ideal, but still he scores 20 points, grabs 6 rebounds, has a couple of assists, had a turnover, a block, and 2 steals in 40 minutes. He played his ass off. He did what he could. He is a guy that visibly looked like he was playing with some kind of sense of urgency in a way that not everybody maybe was for the full 40 minutes. So obviously, the light is on for him, and he's feeling the pressure. Sam Alexis plays 30 minutes, 8 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 2 of 4 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He had a block, -8 on the night. Alexis also was just more aggressive in trying to look for his own shot, which is something that we've seen more of. And when he could do that, it does open the floor quite a bit for his teammates. But that said, he's not forcing anything, and it's not like he's suddenly Juwan Morgan or Trace Jackson Davis. So I mean, you get what you can out of him, and you go from there. Nick Dorn, 4 points on 1 of 5 shooting, 1 of 4 from three-point range, 3 rebounds in 28 minutes. Connor Enright, 3 points on 1 of 7 shooting, 1 of 5 from three-point range. Had an air ball, again from 3. 3 rebounds, just 2 assists. Indiana, which has 8 assists on 22 made baskets, which this season Indiana has been pretty good at distributing the basketball, but they weren't in this one. A lot of one-on-one, a lot of lack of movement, leading to some late shots. And that's all the scoring, folks. Indiana did not score a single point off the bench all day. In fact, only Reed Bailey was the only player to attempt a shot off the bench. Josiah Miles held scoreless, did not attempt a shot, had 6 rebounds in 18 minutes. You're going to hear from Darren DeVries in just a few minutes about Miles. He basically got the nod over Conaway because they liked the way that he is playing. Reed Bailey, 0 for 1 shooting. Did not have a rebound in 8 minutes. He had a turnover, a block, and a steal. He was -8 in those 8 minutes. And he got booed. And you could talk about the fairness of that, but he got booed by you fans. And when he came back in, he got some cheers as well, as people I think were a little bit bothered by that. But there's some frustration for sure. Tayton Conaway, 0 points, plays 7 minutes, doesn't record a stat. Nothing. He was -5, I should say that. The Hoosiers, 22 of 56 overall, 39.3%. Just 10 of 35 from three-point range. That's 28.6%. Go to the free throw line just 13 times. 8 assists, 7 turnovers. Scored 24 of their points in the paint. But Michigan State just had better balance. They had just more ways to hurt you. They were more efficient. 15 assists on 25 made baskets. Out-rebounded Indiana. Got 22 points off the bench. All of these things. Look, Michigan State's a good team. It's that simple. Michigan State is a good team. And to beat a good team, you have to play consistent basketball, and that is not a strength of this Hoosier ball club. I'm going to stack up. 812-393-2600 is the number on the chat. Pecan Pie says, lest we forget DeVries, with Dolson looking on and supporting, constructed this roster to win immediately. I'm sure they were both expecting 20-plus wins. It has been a colossal disaster. They were on pace for that, but obviously being on pace is a long way from actually getting there. And it is very, very clear that whatever was connecting this team early in the season has gone away. And it makes it just really incredibly frustrating for this ball club and this program and these fans. Because, again, as these losses stack, there certainly isn't a lot of reason to believe that this is a team that can make a run in the Big Ten tournament, make a run in the NCAA tournament. You look at the resume for this ball club, and it's just not strong enough right now. This was another opportunity that passed him by. We have our first caller. Caller, if I have your name, where you're from, and what you got.
Hey, excuse me. How you doing tonight, Ken?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Hello?
Yes, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Hello? Oh, here we go again.
No, I'm doing good. Are you okay? Can you hear me? What is that about? Caller, if I have your name,
Hello?
where you're from, and what you got.
Uh-oh.
What is
All
that?
right.
What is it? I can hear you just fine, caller. Go on ahead. Oh my God, what is this? This is amazing. This is simply incredible. Eight 812-393-2600. As far as I know, people could hear me with the microphone, so not sure what's going on there. Great. Next thing. Just incredible. Everything seems to be okay. So give me a call. Let's go ahead. We got looks like the same caller calling back in. Hopefully, go ahead and call. Go caller.
Well,
I can hear you.
You can
just
hear
fine.
me, but I can't hear you.
I could hear you just fine.
Laughing. Well, something's not hooked up somewhere. I'll call back in a little bit.
All right, sounds
good.
good.
I'll talk. I'll hang up and I can hear what you got to say. Very simply, a couple things. So go back to the Northwestern game. He took Lamar Wilkinson out, and Wilkinson was hot as piss grease. Sat him 6-7 minutes, which is, I didn't understand that. When he came back in, he had nothing the rest of the game. He lost his mojo. I didn't understand that move at all. They're still young kids, and they can go. If guys can play 36, 37, 30 minutes a game, why is he getting a 6-7 minute when he is our offense? And he's that hot, and they couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
Today, I think, we can be critical, and there are a lot of things to be critical. I think a couple of things that do stand out is one. Reed Bailey may be a really nice kid, but this is not a game for him. He doesn't go strong to the hole. In fact, he's timid going to the hole. You can see it. I think Sammy Alexis is doing a lot better job, but he a couple of times, instead of going to the hole hard to draw the foul, tried to do that little soft teardrop thing. Our bigs don't go hard. They're not physical. I think it's a fair statement. I did not understand the Tatum Conaway thing today, that he didn't play. That just made zero sense to me to speak of, because Connor and Wright doesn't give us any offense. He made a 3-day, but he doesn't. It just doesn't. He hustles. He works hard, but he doesn't. It was good to see, and it took Lamar some time to get going. Once he got going, he really lit it up pretty well. Tucker DeVries is starting to come back, but it's just we're too late. This team is, it's sad, but we're not going to the NCAA. We got two tough games coming up. Minnesota, we couldn't handle them there, and then they're a lot more physical than we are. What he has to do to construct a team next year, he's got to get two bigs in there that are physical. He's got to get guys that will rebound and knock people around and not back off. And he's still got to continue to bring shooters in. And he's going to have the whole, he can start right now, basically, because, I think he's lost Tatum Conaway. I think he's lost him for the year. I just watching him and just things that you hear that he's not happy, he's pissed. I can't quite blame him. So, I just don't see us winning a ball game the rest of the year. Maybe that's a sad thing to say, but I just don't see it happening. We can't handle teams that get physical. And Minnesota set the tone way back when the first game. If I remember correctly, They were physical as all get out with us.
They were.
And we didn't handle it at all. And then, so teams that are equal to us, but they're more physical, they beat us. Michigan State's a good team. But I'll tell you what, if we can just match their physicality and the switching, where we end up switching a 5'9" Connor Enright on a 6'10" guy, but they just ran him over and just cast him aside. Those switches made no sense. So communication, they've got to do some things to get that stuff worked out this spring, this summer. for next year. I will say this at the end. If Darren Dere constructs a team again next year like he has this year, then that next year will be his last year. I have no doubt about that in my mind. Because this can't happen. And even on TV, they said, last 8 years we've only gone 2 times, and that's not Indiana basketball. We're a football school right now.
For sure.
And the last thing I'm going to say is this. I would love to see a coach like Signetti on the sidelines for Indiana basketball. Because I don't think he would put up with stuff, players and or officials both. Okay? Thanks. That's it.
Thanks so much. I appreciate the call.
I'll go back and listen to you now. And I don't know what's wrong with the thing.
Well,
you do a good job, Ken.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hopefully that was just whatever was going on with there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reset that system while I answer his call. Hopefully, something will work with that. So that is my hope. So you'll hear this. I can't stop you guys from hearing it talk about you have to hear this. So
you are connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
Well, there we go.
Audio recording is on. Dual channel.
Cool. It's also going to give me a problem. Anyway, he had a lot to talk about there, and it was very interesting. It is a situation where it is baffling that Connor Way hasn't gotten the time that he has gotten. His minutes have dropped off, and there's no real explanation for it, no legitimate explanation. Obviously, something is wrong, and something has gone on with that. I think that there's no question about that. That is an issue that is happening, behind the scenes, and they don't want to talk to us. I don't know that for sure, but it's just an odd situation to have a guy that has been effective, and then you go ahead and you stick with Josiah Miles, which is fine, but Nick Dorn isn't giving you what you need. And I know there's all parts of games, there's small things that you got to deal with, but you got to get something. And he's just not giving you much. Dorn isn't giving you much of anything. So how does it hurt to go ahead and bring in somebody else that's going to make a difference? That's my question. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So there's that. With Sam Alexis has been effective at times. Reed Bailey has not been as effective. And again, there were some boo birds in dealing with him today, and that to me is unfortunate that is the case. But it's just a matter of this is a program that there's just a lot of strange things going on. Because I do think Indiana they're playing a less connected brand of basketball than they did earlier in the season. I'll say that. And you're not getting anything from Connor Enright, from Nick Dorn, but they're staying in the lineup and staying on the floor. Tatum Connerway has given you some things. He hasn't always been consistent, but then he's disappearing from the lineup and not getting a chance to come out. It's frustrating to watch, to say the least. And so the caller also talked about how if they do this again and Indiana isn't successful, that is something that is going to stand out for sure, because it's a program that needs to get back on track. And like he said, Indiana's been to the NCAA tournament 3 times in the last 10 years. Just twice in the past 9 since Crean's last year. Archie didn't go. Woody went a couple of times, but missed last year. And it is looking more and more like Indiana won't get in, especially if these losses keep stacking. I'm going to try to reconnect our call-in system here. Let this go ahead and go. There we go.
You are connected as the host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
Hope everybody could hear that.
Audio recording is on. Dual channel.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring you Darren DeVries' post-game press conference. He had plenty to say about this one. And so here's Darren DeVries after Indiana's loss to Michigan State.
Darren, I guess Tucker and Lamar talked about feeling like the effort was there tonight, and that it just couldn't translate into the sequence of plays you needed as a coach. Just sort of, what's your message on an afternoon when maybe you do get the effort you need, you get sort of the intensity and the work rate, and that just can't quite translate into the sequence of stops and scores?
Yeah, I thought our fight was great. Especially in the second half, the guys were really battling, competing. I thought our first shot defense was really good in the second half. They got 9 offensive rebounds in the second half, which were just killers for us, because we had opportunities there where we got it to right where 2-possession game and get a stop and get the ball, get in transition, get the crowd into it. And it seemed like they just came up with all the loose balls, all the big plays in those situations. But again, I thought the guys hung around. Even that second half when we just couldn't get enough consecutive possessions offensively to get over that hump. But again, they were leaving it all out there, I thought, for the most part.
Dear God, I did not catch that live, that he said they just couldn't get over that hump. And I know that gives some people some of the shakes a little bit. So somebody's got to go ahead and let Darren Dere know about that little Mike Woodsonism. So here's back to Darren. Sorry about that.
Yeah, obviously, you get it to within 5, then they take control. That was an issue in the second half. First half, giving up the 45, how big of an issue did you feel that was, just sort of them kind of creating just a little bit of space that made you guys have to fight the whole way?
Yeah, I thought the first half in the man, we had switched them a decent amount in the first game, and on the half court, we had done a pretty good job. They had really hurt us in transition in the first game, so I thought they took advantage. They got us a little more on the high-low in this game, where the last game they were coming more from the wing. So they got us there a little bit. We made some adjustments to slow that down. Still on the interior, like one-on-one, we had to bring bodies, and they were spraying it out and knocking down threes, and that's where it makes them hard. But I thought our zone was really good to us today. I thought the guys did a good job of really managing the game with our zone, and they haven't done a lot of that in games. So I thought overall they did a good job there of communicating and had a few breakdowns, but we just felt like that was a better alternative than them running their offense, throwing it inside, having fears in space, and making them have to play it a little bit like they're not as used to.
The players have come in here the last couple losses and sounded very dejected about kind of how things have gone. How do you as a coach kind of push the right buttons, or what have you found? What do you think will be the way to kind of get our message across that you guys can bounce back from this? Like in the locker room, what are you telling them? How have you approached this team specifically, with the 4-game losing streak?
Yeah, I told them, it's a long season, and you're almost at the end of it. We had a tough 4-game stretch in the middle of it. They bounced back and played some of our best basketball right after that. So, came home, beat Rutgers, beat Purdue, went to Oregon and won. So, similar deal. We had a rough stretch. There's a short amount of time here with the regular season and the Big Ten tournament to go on a run, and that has to be our mindset, has to be our focus. Just leave it all out there, finish the job. So we got one more home game left. It'll be a big game for us. We got a quad 1 at Ohio State, then you got the Big Ten tourney. So our focus has to just be on that next one and find a way to try to beat Minnesota.
Coach, they made a lot of big threes in that game, a lot of late shot clock threes. I think Kurt Tang was 6 of 8 from 3 with some late ones in the possession. Was it a deal where you guys were kind of missing the scouting report with him, or just kind of things just got away with you with the long possessions? Yeah, I thought there was a few. He certainly got clean ones. I thought there were some of the late shot clock ones. We were there. He made them. A few of them were off of scrambles, off of offensive rebounds too, if I remember right. At least one I know in the second half. That was a big one. Fears hit a couple. Those were, and I thought they were all, timely ones too. And some of them we had really good defense. They made them over the top of a challenged arm. Some of the open ones, those are the ones that, that hurt when you give them something that they're, and that gets them going. Now they make maybe one of those that's a little more challenged.
Yeah, just how surprised are you about the way the last handful of weeks have gone? It kind of seemed like after the Oregon win, you guys had hit this higher level. Are you surprised about how it's just the way these last handful of weeks have been? I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were playing really, really good basketball coming off of the Oregon game. Went to Illinois and had a tough stretch there. Purdue came home to Northwestern, won at home. That was the one that we really felt like we let get away. And then tonight we knew it was going to be a battle again. And I thought we competed our asses off tonight. Just wasn't enough.
Darren, what do you think of the offense you guys ran tonight and your shot selection?
Yeah, I didn't think our offense got nearly enough movement. I thought Michigan State did a really good job of keeping the ball in front of us. The first time around they did a little more hedging, which gave us some throwback opportunities and things. I thought tonight they were a little more connected and made it. Those 2-on-2 battles, they were able to just kind of switch it. Now the ball's in front of them. So, I thought we had a lot of late clock with no movement, not enough action there, for us. So that's certainly a reason why I don't think our offense is as good.
Coach, Tucker and Lamar are the only guys to score a field goal in the second half. And Tucker said something about going down swinging earlier. Do you feel like they're the reason, if you guys do go on and win, to push you guys forward?
Yeah, I think Lamar and Tucker, two guys that we need to score. Obviously we'll take scoring from anywhere. I thought Sam gave us a good lift, especially in that first half too. So all of that's going to contribute. But those are two guys that for us, we certainly need them to be active and be aggressive and create opportunities not only for themselves but for others.
You said the first shot defense was good. You said you thought that they worked hard tonight on the court. So what was missing tonight in your eyes?
Yeah, I didn't think we had the offensive piece throughout the game. I just never thought we got, great offense possession after possession. I didn't think there was a lot of consistency there. Defensively, after the first 8-10 minutes or so, I thought we were much better. I thought the second half was really just the rebounding. If we had gathered some more of those offensive rebounds, and they were there. It was, there a lot of bodies, a lot of hands. And if we had come out with a few more of those, maybe we're in transition, and like I said, get the crowd really into it, and see what happens.
Coach, Tatum Connerway seemed to play well against Purdue and Northwestern. No minutes in the second half tonight. What led to Josiah Miles kind of getting those minutes instead of Connerway tonight?
Yeah, we just decided we thought Josiah was playing really hard and was very active, and so we decided to go with him.
So there's Darren Dere during his post-game press conference. Indiana, again, he didn't have enough movement. He didn't have this. Didn't have they weren't as connected offensively. They were. Then what are you doing? So you just stick with what you got? That's what I don't understand. That's what I'm struggling with here. In the second half, Indiana played 8 guys. No, I'm sorry. They played 7 guys in the second half. Josiah Miles got 12 minutes. Didn't attempt a shot. Yeah, he got 4 rebounds. He also had 4 fouls and a turnover. Connerway didn't get a minute. Meanwhile, Connor Enright, 14 minutes, scoreless. Nick Dorn, 13 minutes, scoreless. Just saying. I mean, if what was working, what you thought was, you weren't getting what you wanted, you got to make some kind of change. You have to. Ryan Kramer says, I have no idea how coach is going to recruit from here on out. I think if he gets the right kids, IU should be just fine. I just can't believe over the last 25 years we've struggled this much. Kids played hard, such a discrepancy in talent and physicality. All of that is absolutely true. There is a huge difference in talent and physicality, and it comes down to something we've been talking about from the start, which is a lot of guys making that move up to from mid-major to high major, Power 4 basketball. It's because it says Indiana on your chest. Doesn't mean you are Big Ten talent. That's just how it is. And I know DeVries had a tough time getting guys to commit when he was brought in. It seemed like he was setting a foundation with his assistants. And then these guys are brought in. There's a whole turnover, and that's what makes next year so incredibly important, because you have to be able to win. You have to get some kind of traction with your program. And, yeah, there is still a path to win 20 games, because you can win the last two. That gets you to 19. You win a game or two. You win a game in the Big Ten tournament, and you get to 20. And that would be certainly a positive. But Indiana can't finish above 500 in the Big Ten now. They're 8-10 on the season right now. They can't finish above 500 in the Big Ten. They need to stack some wins in order to get to the NCAA tournament, which I spent some time during the game, during timeouts, just looking at what has previously happened at IU over the past several years, and we've talked about this. The previous caller talked about the NCAA tournament. By the way, with the callers, 812-393-2600. Hopefully that problem has been fixed. I won't know until somebody calls. So there's that. But I wanted to give you some numbers. I went with basically the last 15 seasons, so going back to 2011. Nobody went to the tournament in 2020. So the most times that you can go to the NCAA tournament in the past 15 years is 14 times. Michigan State has gone 14 times. Purdue has gone 12. Wisconsin 12. Michigan 11. UCLA 10. Obviously they're new. Indiana has gone 6 times in the last 15 years. Only USC has also gone 6. The only teams to go to the NCAA fewer times in the last 15 years in the Big Ten is Minnesota, Northwestern, Nebraska, Penn State, Rutgers, and Washington, another new team. So that's the company Indiana is keeping over the past 15 years when it comes to the postseason. Since 2016, so just looking at the last 10 years, Indiana's gone to the NCAA tournament 3 times, the same number of times as Northwestern. 1 more than Minnesota and Nebraska and Rutgers, and 2 more than Penn State and Washington. Again, that's the company Indiana has been keeping for the past 10 years and the past 15 years. In the Big Ten, they are peers right now with Northwestern, Minnesota, Nebraska, Rutgers, Penn State, and Washington. We've known it's bad, but that is how bad it has been. And it looks increasingly unlikely that they'll miss it this year. This team's spirit seems a little bit deflated. You know, the loss to Northwestern, that post-game press conference, which I was able to bring you on the Peegs podcast, wasn't able to stream it live because of the issues that I had, but that to me was just a sign of where this team is in terms of a mental state. Because you had Tucker DeVries was tearing up. Lamar Wilkerson was really down, which I get it. You're after a loss. You're supposed to be down. But it has continued. And to me, that is where the frustration truly comes from. Because these opportunities are few and far between now. You have to win against Minnesota. You have to win against Ohio State at Ohio State. An Ohio State team that is in the same boat as you, only they're playing at home. So that is another struggle for the Hoosiers in that one, is that they are basically playing, it could be looked at as almost a play-in game for the NCAA tournament. And they got to do it on the road on what will be senior night for Ohio State. That's a tough task. That's a real tough task. And then you probably need to win a game or 2 in the Big Ten tournament. It's difficult. Indiana has dug itself a hole, to say the least. Indiana got what it wanted in terms of three-point attempts. They had 35 of them, and that's the kind of rate that you want if you are going to beat a team like Michigan State, but you got to make them. Indiana didn't score a point in the last 3 minutes and 15 seconds of this game, made just one of their last 8 shots, and just were never able to string together stops, partially because of the 9 offensive rebounds that Michigan State had in the second half alone. I mean, that's tough to overcome. There was one sequence in which Michigan State had 3 shots at the bucket, ended up scoring, but you had a chance for a momentum swing, and Indiana simply couldn't finish things out. That's how you end up losing by 13. Michigan State's a good team, one of the best in the country, one of the best programs in the country. You can't allow that to happen on your home court. And this was a decent crowd here at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. They're fired up. And Indiana failed to capitalize. 812-393-2600 is the number. Last call for phone calls. Indiana plays its final home game here Wednesday night at 6:30 Eastern Time here at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. Takes on Minnesota. I haven't asked yet about what senior night will look like. You know, everybody knows what the traditional one is. Every coaching change, I wasn't worried. Mike Woodson knew how it worked. Every other coach has been, has gone along with what Indiana's tradition has been of doing things afterwards and having speeches. Don't know if that's what's going to happen this time. I haven't asked yet. But it's such a different team and a different situation when it comes to playing on senior night. Because the guys who could be handed a microphone include Connor Enright and Reed Bailey and Sam Alexis and Lamar Wilkerson and Connerway, Tucker DeVries. It's a lot of seniors on this team. And all of them are here for just 1 year. Are they going to have a lot to say? Is that something that they're going to go for? I don't know yet. But it is different. It is, it's a different program. On the chat, KB95 says if they had played as hard against Northwestern as they played tonight, they would have won that game. Potentially, and that's where, these regrets come in. I mean, you let games slip away time and time again this year. The Iowa game, Indiana was up by plenty in that one. Nebraska, same way. You had opportunities, and Indiana allowed them to slip away. And that's the struggle. Because that Nebraska team was there for the taking, and Indiana allowed it to get away. Northwestern the same way. They almost let it slip away against UCLA. They did at USC. Almost let it slip away against Wisconsin. This team's been living on the edge for a while. And if they get things together, that'll be great for them, but there's a lot for them to overcome before we see that. Indiana 77-64 losers at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall. They fall to 17-12 on the season, 8-10 in the Big Ten. They've now lost 4 straight for the second time this year. Last time they were able to kind of pull it together and string together some victories, but it feels like a lifetime ago. It feels like a lifetime ago. And Indiana's just in a lot of trouble right now when it comes to the NCAA tournament and finding success for this team. Their next opportunity is their last opportunity at Assembly Hall against Minnesota. We'll see how they bounce back. They've done it well at times. Other times they haven't. We'll see how it plays out. Well, that's all the time we have on the Peegs Postgame Live. I want to thank you for listening, and I want to remind you to visit Peegs.com for the very best in IU football and basketball coverage you're going to find anywhere. Nobody covers Hoosier recruiting better than Jeff Rabjohns, Matt Weaver, Trevor Andershock, and Jared Kelly. So come be a part of a thriving and exciting community at Peegs.com. Folks, you are not going to be disappointed. Folks, we're out of time, but for now, and for Jeff, Matt, Trevor, and Jared, I'm Ken Bykoff saying thanks for listening, everybody.